Betsy and Thomas here for the American Intelligence Media. Today we're going to give you a quick overview of the State of the Nation address. And we want to start with this unusual pin, lapel pin, that Nancy Pelosi was wearing. Thomas, what is that?
Oh, well, I'm so anxious, Betsy, to talk about the State of the Union address and that Nancy Pelosi allowed Donald Trump to give it. I mean, I'm just so thrilled, and it was so indicative of the pin that she was wearing. The pin that she was wearing was a Roman Caesar's scepter. The combination of the globe, the magical wand of Asclepius, or the caduceus of Mercury, and then, of course, the Roman eagle at the top, sitting on top of the Golden Globe. That is what the Caesars used as their scepter and globe combined, because they believed that they were divine and human. They believed they were human, but they became divine, and that's what Nancy Pelosi thinks she is.
Excuse me, did you say out of her mind?
She's completely nuts. I want to anxiously go there next.
Oh, no, okay. Well, obviously you said divine because, I mean, when you know that you're going to be in front of millions of people around the world, you carefully choose your outfit. Oh. She carefully chose this pin, and what message is she sending out to the world?
The same message that when she got elected as Speaker of the House, which is, I am equal to the president. You see, because the Caesars believed that they were humans and they became gods, and that's what she believes she is. And here's the sad reality. In their mind, they have literally said this, all but said this, if you take their remarks and you string them together. This is what they would like to do. This is what the scepter of the Roman Caesars, which was the First Reich, and then, of course, there was the Second Reich, the Imperial German Reich that was followed by Hitler's attempt at the Third Reich. Well, I'm going to suggest this is the Fourth Reich, and that basically it's a globalism Reich. It's the same kind of Reich, a regime, or basically hegemony, world-controlling globalist force that Angela Merkel and George Soros work for. And I would suggest that here in America, their kind of counterpoint is Nancy Pelosi, just like Angela Merkel, has invited the caravans into this country through an open border that she refuses to give $1 to support. This is nothing but pure evil. Who does she think she is? She thinks that she is leading the demise of America that wasn't able to happen because Hillary Clinton did not come to power. But in their minds, I'm going to tell you what they have already stated, that if you put it together, this is what they actually think, which is just really astoundingly, remarkably insane that these people, basically because they become megalomaniacal, really. I mean, that's what she is. She's leading her party into the rocks, doing a terrible job. The art of the deal is wasted on her because she doesn't even know how to deal. She didn't even attempt to deal. All she's doing is putting basically nails into the coffin of the Democratic Party. She's basically sounding their death knell. It's the end of the Democratic Party because of what we just gave you yesterday, I believe, in a list of what they want to pass as bills in the House. Sheer insanity. Basically restructure all of America to turn it into socialism. And so the State of the Union last night, the greatest moment was when Trump said, no way, we're not going to become socialists ever. Not now, not ever. And what was amazing was the only person not standing at the end, I think, was Bernie Sanders. And what's really incredible is that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, we'll just call her Ocasio, Ocasio came dressed for the wrong event. She didn't know when to stand or when to sit. And that's because her leader, who was wearing the scepter of leadership of being the Caesar of the Fourth Reich of globalism, here's what happened. When Trump handed both Pence and Pelosi a copy, their personal copy of the speech, I've never seen anyone in history ever use that copy and follow along with it. It's kind of, it's just pro forma. She couldn't ever find her place in it after the first, she never even found it on the first page, okay? And so when you watched her, if you looked at the pages, the way that she shuffled them around, I believe that Betsy is correct. I believe that what was on those pages had nothing to do with that she was looking for the content of what he was saying. It was when she was supposed to stand up or sit down. And that's the reason the ladies in white who were only missing their Ku Klux Klan hats, who were socialists, especially Alexandria Ocasio, did not know when to stand or sit. And so she kept looking down the aisle because she'd look at Pelosi, and Pelosi was trying to look on the page to see whether she should stand or sit.
And she was so confused.
She had no idea what Trump had just said, whether to stand or sit. People were giving her signals, and did you see her hand? She kept giving the hand up like this to say, don't tell me what to do.
No, but in the end, it turned out to be a big Trump rally. All the ladies in whites were up cheering Trump. He was just working them. It was great.
Oh, he worked them to death.
I would like to say he grabbed them all but we won't go there.
By the kitty cat hat. Yeah, that's another reason we like kitties, because, they make nice hats when they, are knitted.
That was really good. So, in the end, Nancy's totally confused, although she walked into that meeting to send a signal to the world that she's in charge.
Oh.
And then her bevy of babes in white were all over the place. How could they not cheer the employment numbers for women? That's
the reason that the ladies, who all sitting in white, which basically make them more or less a mob, a caucus, but is what they'd call it. But when you're a socialist caucus, or when you're the Democrat demon rat caucus, it's the caucus to kill children. It's the caucus to kill infants after they're born. Then the mother gets to decide.
Not kill, murder.
And then murder the child.
Yes.
And so they can cut up their parts. And you keep asking, and so many people keep asking about fetal parts. Let me just explain something.
Why so much? They need so much.
They're used in experimentation. They're not put in food, but they were used in testing of many, many foods, because they have a certain type of epithelial cell and stem cell that react to protein in a way that can be used in tests to actually determine whether something tastes better or not, or in other words has, would stimulate the taste buds more. So it isn't true that Pepsi and all these drinks have the fetal alcohol, have the fetal tissue in them. But that fetal tissue, now let me just explain. That fetal tissue is being used in more experimentation than anyone could keep track of. The conclave, we tried to look it up yesterday. Too much experimentation, so we have to back off and just say, basically, it's being used in all experimentation. So stem cell experimentation is insane, and that's what all the billionaires want to do, is extend their life. And so they test food, and then they put it in lots of products, especially cosmetics, and in all kinds of household products. So yes, baby parts are being sold for their organs. They're being sold for stem cells, for epithelial cells, for every part of their body. Their blood is all being harvested.
And we have said this for the longest time, and people said, man, you guys were on the fringe. But we were preparing you for this. This is what these people do. They harvest fellow human beings.
And recently, we pointed out yesterday, one of the first things they did was pass a $500 million appropriation spending for Planned Parenthood. And then Planned Parenthood, as they always do, gives back $50 million of it to Democrats.
Yeah.
And they kill children.
They
kill and murder
They murder children. They harvest human beings. Now, another thing I want to bring up is who was not there, and that's Ruth Ginsburg. Now, we always let folks know here at the American Intelligence Media that there is a plan, and we tell you what it is. And it is that you take your talents, your skills, and your abilities, your resources, and you educate and enlighten your circle of influence. When you do that, you become an information warrior. Because you see, it is education that is the antidote to the propaganda that we get all the time. Now, as an information warrior, you need to go out there and you need to start helping folks see the light. One of the things that we all need to be concerned about as awake citizens is that there is a Supreme Court Justice, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, that there has been no public sighting of in about 2 months. Every citizen needs to be concerned about this. Now, if you look at your screen, you'll see that I have the FBI telephone number and website, and I also have the Supreme Court telephone number. And you need to now step up, be an information warrior, do your part, and find out where SCOTUS Ginsburg is.
You don't come to work, you're fired. Where doesn't that not apply? Who works from home when you're a Supreme Court justice and you turn in a brief that you know everyone knows you didn't write and you are on your deathbed, but you just can't stand the fact that when they try to impeach Trump, it's going to go to the Supreme Court and they don't want to lose another Democrat.
But
now, that she's a Democrat is disgusting, that we even know she's a Democrat on the Supreme Court.
Yes, because she doesn't go to the Republican State of the Nations, but the point is that she is an elderly woman and we don't know her condition. None of us do out here. And these crazy lunatics could have her brain in some device or put on some kind of equipment and actually be doing her harm. I mean, as a human being, we need to know the status of Ruth Ginsburg.
You know, Ruth and others who put their fingers in their ears and say, not my president, not my president, never, 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 never Trump, never, 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 never Trump. They're stupid. They should be fired. Because if you don't come to the State of the Union, you don't really know what is going on, even if you see a video afterwards. It is your job to be there. And when you don't show up for votes in the Congress and the Senate, then you should be fired. It's real simple in my book. You need to have the same standards on Capitol Hill, and they should be much higher, actually, but at least the same basic standards that you'd find in any business. And that's what Trump has brought, and they think that they can stand against that. They think they can stand against the president doing his job and that Congress can intervene and stop the executive branch from doing its job. That's just as stupid as crazy-o. And what I love, Betsy, is that you constantly are showing me cool things that people are doing as they do their part, whether it be a bumper sticker or whether it be a sign somewhere or whether it be that they agitated somebody about content that they really needed to change. If they really want to be an alternative journalist, they need to get caught up on senior executive service, because you can look it up in Wikipedia, folks. It's real simple. There's a shadow government, and that's what we got to see last night. That really, there's less lawlessness as there was before than there was before in the previous State of the Union. And remember last year, they were all crazy. Some of them were reading newspapers, some of them were asleep, some of them were working on their devices, some of them never put their phones down, some of them didn't hear a word that was said. They were there to put their finger in their ear, as a child would do who refuses to accept that their mother says you can't go out and play because it's raining. And Trump is raining on their parade. And it's beautiful. It was a beautiful State of the Union. Beautiful, probably the best I've ever heard. And he even got the crazy ladies in white, the new Socialist Party, to stand, to clap, to say there'll never be socialism in America. He got Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the queen of socialism, to stand and clap that there'll be no socialism. He got her to stand and clap for a member of ICE who had put his life on the line more times than he could count after she said that anyone who works for ICE is a Nazi and needs to be locked up in a concentration camp and treated much worse than the worst way we treat migrants. So you got to see so much confusion because Nancy Pelosi is such a nutcase, she can't even follow along on her printed page, which were probably in large print for her, and she couldn't keep her teeth in her head quite right. And the faces she made were ridiculous. And when she clapped for the three things that she liked, she looked like some type of seal. She should be honking like a seal by the way she clapped for the three things that she liked in the entire thing. And those are probably the only ones she actually heard what he said or understood what he said, because she couldn't figure out what he was saying, where he was, or whether she's supposed to stand up or sit down or clap or not, because her assistants already wrote it on the page and she lost track of the page. She never once was on the proper page. And then in front of her, she had a sterling silver set of hoo-ha that I don't think any Speaker of the House has ever had up there. Perhaps they have. I've never seen it before. And then she had to wear the scepter of the Caesars. so that we would see that the Fourth Reich has come to rest upon her lapel. Now, here's their dream of the crazies, the Ocrazios and the crazy Nancy Pelosi's and Nancy Caesar. Is it Pelosi Caesar? I don't know. It's one or the other. She actually believes, folks, and this is ridiculous, that she's still going to get Hillary in the White House. And you say, but whoa. How can that be? Because what was the first thing she said when she saw the election results? I'm equal to Donald Trump now. Right? That's the statement of a crazy person. What about Michael Pence? Was she just going to kill him too? Well, she's trying to annihilate him. She's called him every name in the book, including biblical names improperly. And I don't know a name she hasn't called him that is allowed on television, but she's called Donald Trump every single name, said it was the horriblest things ever, going to take back his cuts in the taxes, going to undo everything he's done that has basically caused us to have the best economy in U.S. history. Because why? She's the Fourth Reich. She's the new Caesar. She believes that Hillary Clinton, now dig this, when she gets rid of Donald Trump, somehow she gets magically rid of Michael Pence too, and she becomes the president, and there's no vice president. And so, of course, whoever the Speaker of the House is going to become the vice president. And because the Speaker of the House can be put on the floor, and anyone, Porky the Pig, could be ran for Speaker of the House, as long as Porky shows up after Porky wins. Anyone, you, me, your dog, a pig, anyone can be run for Speaker of the House. You do not have to be a member of the House. They will run Hillary to be Speaker of the House. She will become Vice President. Nancy Pelosi will step down. Hillary will become President. And as we've seen in some new documents, which we have yet to vet, but I'm just going to say it's supposition at this point, but it makes me wonder, that George Soros had put out extensive documentation, beautifully printed up, by the way, and really nice. That's the reason I don't think it's fake, stating that the 2016 election in America, the presidential election, would be the last election in America. And that he was 100% certain of this somehow, folks. Well, that's what was supposed to happen. And if you read The Paradox of Progress, the prior intelligence community's report, you'll see that's exactly what they say. Basically, Canada, America, and Mexico were to become one region. And it would have it'd be run by the United Nations, but Hillary would be, of course, appointed the queen of all things. And after her lovely daughter, well, it is her daughter. Not Bill's daughter, but at least it's her daughter, because that's the way these dynasties roll. Okay? So, Nancy Pelosi is pure stupidity incarnate. When Trump said, I'm so happy she's going to be the Speaker of the House. Nobody's more experienced. Experienced at what? Corruption, yes. And she's been around the longest, yes. And she deserves it because then Trump has no one that he has to actually fight against except Schumer, who just keeps getting smaller every time someone ever asks him a question about reality. Ever notice that Schumer just gets smaller and smaller, and Pelosi gets bigger and bigger until she's making the same kind of gestures? Crazy, insane, psychopathic gestures that Hillary makes. Just look at their gestures. They've become one and the same now. So, folks, we have a Fourth Reich, and it's here in America. And Dawn Nancy, as I used to call her, because I thought she was the head of the mafia, I might as well just go ahead and call her President Nancy, because she probably won't be president for long in her mind before Hillary takes her place.